So coming from the right side towards his left, he actually lines up his lead foot to the rim. However, when he is going towards the right side, it is a bit different, and I am going to explain that very soon. However, what we can see coming from the right side is that he has his left foot as well as his left knee pointing towards the rim. His body is tilted towards the right side, however, and that is to line up his elbow and his shoulder with the rim. Now, when he does receive that ball, he is looking to shoot that ball. Well, obviously he's looking towards the rim, but with his peripheral vision, he can also see all of the other parts of the basketball court, which allow him to be able to make assists, and when he does draw up the defender to defend his shot. So, that is a very important factor for everybody to learn, not just to look at the rim, but use your peripheral vision to see what else is going on. When he does dip, because he does dip that ball, he receives that ball and dips it down just above his knees. Meanwhile, when he does dip that ball, we do notice that his shoulders are in line with his knees, in line with his toes. This is going to allow him to be a very balanced shooter, and when that happens, if he was to get knocked anywhere on his body, he would be at least very balanced, going straight up into his shot. Now, what we do also notice is that he is tilted slightly away from the basket. Now, the reason why this is important is because this will help align his shoulder with his elbow. Now, if you are shooting with your elbow flared out towards the left side if you're a left-handed player, or towards the right side if you're a right-handed player, you may want to tilt your opposite shoulder back so that your body is not squared up towards the rim anymore, which I know that will make a few coaches and trainers upset, but you want to really create the shooting triangle, or at least what I like to call the shooting triangle, and I've mentioned this in every single video. So you want to have that shoulder in line with the basket, with the elbow, and then you want to have that basketball on the same plane as your elbow, or technically your upper arm. This will allow you to have a straight shot, and we can actually see that in a future clip. However, what we want to really see as well is we notice that his heels are off the ground, and the importance behind this is it does allow him to get up off the ground a lot faster. We also do see that when he goes up into his set point, which is roughly about here, what we do notice is that when he gets into his set point, the ball is actually above his head, over top of his left side of his head. He has a little bit greater than 90 degrees on his shoulder and a little bit greater than 90 degrees on his elbow. What this is going to do for him is to give him more power without having to use his legs. Now, some players, as including myself, will always say use more legs because that's going to allow you to get more power into your shot. However, another way that you can do this is by bringing that ball back just a bit more, and this can allow you to have more power from farther away. However, this does slow down your shot and does make it easier to block. For some players, it can also create inconsistencies with your shot as well, but we do not see this with Jeff Chan. When he does go and release that ball, we do notice that the elbow is above the forehead, which is important to get arc on that ball. And we notice that he has a hard release. Unlike Steph Curry and a few others who have a soft release, he's more like Michael Jordan, who has a hard release on his wrist, which will allow him to get more backwards rotation on that ball, but less arc. However, by having his elbow above his head, he's going to have enough arc on that ball to be able to get that ball in cleanly. However, let's also look at how many rotations this ball has. So what we're going to look at is that line right there. And we're going to scrub through this really slowly. We're going to go frame by frame, and we're going to see that that is roughly one full rotation there. We're going to see it go around one more time, and that'll be two full rotations. And then it's going to continue to go around. That's 2.5. And then we are getting into the end, which equals about 3, if not 3.25 rotations. You want to have more than 2.5 rotations on that ball or more. The reason why this is important is because, of course, if that ball hits that rim, you want to have enough backspin on that ball so that when it does hit that rim, it slows down enough to bounce in, or hits the back of the rim and then has enough backward spin on it to stop its forward momentum to bounce it off the backboard and off. You want to have a lot of spin so that when it hits that rim, it hits basically a lot softer. This is also a great angle to see his set point. It's above his left side of his head and above his left forehead. We can also see from this angle that he does have a space between his palm and the ball, which will allow that ball to be on that hand a lot more secure, because if this defender was to knock that elbow, at least with the space between the palm and the ball, it's going to be able to keep that ball on your fingertips a lot easier and in your hand a lot easier than if your palm was on the ball. You would have less grip on the ball, so that if that elbow was knocked, there's a higher chance of that ball coming loose off of your hand if you were shooting with your palm. We can also see from this angle and a few other angles that I have collected that he does shoot very similar to myself, as in where he likes to place his hand. So as we can see here, he actually likes to place his fingertips right on the grooves of the basketball, and this is something that is pretty consistent across all of the highlights that I've seen. Now, I find that this is better because I find that it gets you more spin on the ball if you have your fingertips on the black lines of the ball. It's a personal thing, but if you feel like getting more rotation on the ball, you could try that as well. Now, here's another angle as well, coming from the left side towards the right, and we can see that he has both feet tilted away from the basket, and now this is because he wants to get right here, what we see right here, that ball over top of that upper arm and that shoulder in line with that elbow towards the rim, which is of course right there. This is a very important tip that every single player needs. We also see in this clip, as well as all of the others, that he shoots off of his pointer finger as well as his middle finger. We also do see as well that there is a very slight thumb flick involved with this shot as well, and that is something that we do see from top players like Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving, but I would really like to emphasize that by shooting with a thumb flick, for most players, it will cut down on your arc and cut down on your rotations, backward rotations on the ball, which gives it a higher chance of missing. However, if you're shooting over 40% in game from 3, I probably would not be changing that. I really hope that this Jeff Chan basketball shooting form breakdown has helped you become a better left-handed shooter. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys again in our next video.